Yo, what is going on, guys? Cryptic TMG back with a brand new video. Today we are around the Bahrain outer loop, and this time we're in the BMW M4. And yo, I'm not gonna lie, this race was a pretty good one, man. We definitely had some banging races around this track recently. I've been going in between the BMW and the Lamborghini. For me, it's the best two cars. I do want to try the McLaren though. I've seen a few people doing some decent times in the McLaren, but anyway, we're gonna get stuck into this race. I've qualified in third position, and we were pretty decent. I think we did like a 13-1 in quali or something like that. So pretty decent. I'm expecting William to actually just get off because he's been setting the lap record times around this circuit all week. So finally we get going and into turn one. I realized the BMW always gets a very good start, always. So gonna put them under pressure, but we try to just make sure we stay clean and just get squeezed to the inside, but manage to keep the car straight. I tend to not want to do too much for the first two corners because it's so tight. I just try and focus on getting the exit and being able to get away without damage. We did take some front end damage. I'm not too sure how much it cost you or if it cost you at all, but shouldn't be too bad because I've had loads of damage before and still managed to get some decent time. So settling in third place, we got Carl, our teammate, behind us, and I think it's Raggio in the Lambo behind him. So it's going to be a little bit tight. The Lambos do tend to be very fast at the start of the race, and for me, whenever I've driven a Lambo, through the middle sector is definitely where the time is gained. It's so nimble through the middle, very good on the brakes, whereas the BMWs, the strength is more in the acceleration and the straight line speed. So it's pretty difficult for me to keep up with the guys ahead, particularly through the middle sector. It is very hard, but you can see Carl's in our slipstream just 2 tenths behind, so we're gonna have to defend. Once the BMW gets in the slipstream, it just seems to just pull, and I've noticed it particularly when I wasn't in the BMW. So for now that I'm in the BMW, I've got a little bit more straight line speed to work with, and you know, just focus on getting the exits because Carl was always pretty strong on the brakes, and I know I'm going to be under pressure in the braking zone. So onto lap 2. The laps go so quick around this circuit, man, but because it's so frantic, you almost got no time to really rest. Kind of driving in my mirrors a little bit, so we end up going a little bit too wide. Still trying to figure out the best brakes as I almost lose the rear end there. Still trying to figure out the best brake combination, the best TC combination for the BMW after the patch. And yeah, at the moment, still not got it perfect. Definitely the car has lost something in terms of its braking capabilities. The BMW used to be pretty nice on the brakes before. Now it just feels like the car just doesn't stop in time. And I noticed in the actual fixed setup that they run the brake at 90% pressure. I tried 100 and it just seemed like the car just goes straight, you know, just engages ABS and completely doesn't slow down at all. So heading on to lap 3, and Carl's still in our slipstream. We're doing mid-13s. You can already see the leader has done a 1 minute 12.7 already, so we expect him to absolutely get off. I believe he's one of Darren McCormack's stablemates or friends. Seriously fast guy. He's been fast all week, doing insane lap times in the Lambo. So we knew we weren't really racing him, but it was more for the podium, trying to keep it on the podium. Such a tricky track and very easy to get a drive-through penalty and invalidate laps, but you have to risk it, man. You have to send it through the middle because that is the meat and bones of the lap. Most people, majority of people, are pretty similar through the other corners, but this middle sector is where the time is lost and gained, and you kind of have to keep your foot in when the back end goes light through there and just hope that you don't bin it. But you can see Carl again in our slipstream, getting and running us into the last corner, and it shocked me how late he broke here and almost goes into the back of us. And now Carl's gone off the circuit, so that's given us a little bit of a break. We're gonna improve our lap time as well. But what I will say is the BMW's braking, I don't know what has happened, but since the update, its braking performance is definitely drastically worse. Definitely worse. Like how early I'm having to brake for the last corner compared to when I'm in the Lambo is interesting to say the least. But again, you can see the guys in front of us pulling the gap, very hard to stay with them. And I was a little bit inconsistent in the early parts of the race, man. I was a little bit up and down on the pace. And it's just for me, it's just the braking for this car. I struggle with it a lot. I just can't get it down. In the Lambo, easy. The braking's perfect, you know. But you can see me, you know, going too fast into corners, not getting the car slow down enough. Very, very hard to get that consistent feel for me when I drive the BMW. But it is a decent car. It definitely does have pace. It's just I'm not able to extract it. But just look at the pace of the leader right now. He's absolutely he's gone already. He's absolutely gone. Look at that. I don't know. I'm not sure what lap time he's about to now. I know it's going to be something crazy. Maybe a 12.5 or something. He must have invalidated his lap because he didn't show up. But I'm pretty sure he must have done another 12.5 or something like that. So fast, man. And our lap times at the moment just up and down. I think our fastest lap time is a 13.1. I think it's a 13.1 I've done in the BMW. And yeah, that was definitely my best race in the BMW to date when I was doing those lap times. But it can be tricky to do, particularly if, you know, you end up in traffic or if you take on early damage or something like that. But the leader, something happened to the leader, and I think after the race he said he went to switch a song on probably like Spotify or something, and it ended up messing up his game. So you saw him driving into the wall on the straight there, and yeah, that's pretty much cooked his race. So now we're in second position, potentially fighting for a win that we did not expect at all. Okay, we did not expect to be fighting for the win with McWilliam in the race, but we are now in second position, and the leader's not actually, he's not getting away from us that much. I think he's a little bit quicker, but if I can stay consistent, maybe I can catch him. I was definitely struggling out of the last corner. For me, even the TT settings, I haven't got them down at the moment. I'm just using what feels decent, but I have not found the optimal settings for the BMW. But we managed to put in a 13.3. Carl, now behind us, does a 13.0, so he's got plenty of pace. He was faster than the leader. The leader only did a 13.6, which is extremely weird, because normally these guys, they're doing sort of 12.8s, 12.7s, but didn't seem to have the pace in this race for whatever reason. Some people speculate that the grip is different in different sessions. I'm not too sure. I have no clue. But for me personally, the pace was okay. I just wasn't hitting that 13.1 sort of lap pace that I was doing at my best. So I'm not too sure why that is. Might be damage, might not be. I'm not, as I said before, I don't actually know how much you lose with a yellow front splitter. I didn't think it was anything too serious, but maybe you do lose a bit. Who knows? But Carl coming back towards us now, you can see he's about 1.6 seconds behind, so he's got very good pace. He's catching us and also catching the leader, because the leader's not really getting away from me either, as the track starts to descend in darkness, which I actually quite like. But I've been liking the BMW, man. The BMW is decent to drive in terms of, you know, the fixed setup, the handling of the car. It feels pretty nice to drive. Carl does another 13.0. I did a 13.5 that lap, so lost quite a lot of time. We're going into turn one as someone's come out the pits and just completely and utterly straight lines turn one, almost catches the leader out. And yeah, some weird things going on in this race. Cars up in front, not sure why there's lap traffic in a 20-minute race. We're only 7 laps in, so it's a little weird. But I can see lapped cars up ahead, and I'm thinking, like, what is going on? I hope there's not someone trying to be dirty, trying to wait for people so they can take them out. But it was clear that the top 3, we definitely had enough pace to get away from the rest of the field. And anyhow, I think the gap was big enough to where even if we did fight, we should be okay. On this game, when you get into a fight, you lose so much time going side by side and battling, and that's always something that I'm always aware of, because it's very easy to get third-partied by someone else who just pulls up in your slipstream because you're fighting with someone else, and then they can send a little cheeky dive bomb and you end up losing out on positions, man. So you can see at the moment 13.5, I do a 13.2, Carl another 13.0, so he's consistently pumping in the low 13s, and we are struggling to go any quicker. We did a 0.2, which was realistically more of a 0.3, and that's our optimum at the moment. We're not able to go much quicker than that. But as I said, the leader is just not pulling away. We're managing to stay with him the whole entire time. But anyway, fast forward to lap 10, you can see we've closed down on the leader. Carl has closed down on us, so this might be a 3-way scrap as we go into turn 1. For whatever reason, the guy in the Lambo seemed to be struggling. I'm not too sure what happened to him, but in the other races, he was pretty fast, but he was kind of gone towards the beginning stages, and maybe the last few laps you could take a little bit of time out of him, but generally he was pretty fast. But for whatever reason, in this race, he was struggling, and Carl had now caught us, and he's only 4 tenths back. We've got the rest of the field by about 3.4 seconds, and now it was like, yo, are we gonna battle or are we gonna send it off this Lambo? But you can see my back end steps out, just managed to catch it, and we get some invalidated laps. And Carl now is in our slipstream, extremely close. I'm gonna have to defend towards the inside. Carl's gonna try and send it around the outside, and it's gonna be very, very tight because I was struggling in braking for the last corner. You can see we've gone a bit deep. Carl switches back towards the inside, gets the switch back on us. And now it's a drag to the first corner. We're both in the BMW, so pretty much it's just the same straight line speed. I'm trying to stay right next to Carl so I can get the side draft, which is a thing on LMU. And you can see I'm actually starting to pull back ahead, and I squeeze him towards the inside of the track so he can't get a good angle to take turn one. And it actually works out for us. We keep it tight on turn one so he doesn't really have any space to, you know, drive through on the exit. And we actually managed to keep the position from the outside of turn one, so pretty good defending there. But Carl was definitely faster, and there wasn't much we could do apart from try and defend. But through the middle sector, that was where he was gaining the majority of the lap time. I felt through the first and the last, I was okay. Maybe the last corner where I was struggling a little bit. But through the kink right here, this was where Carl was very, very fast. On the exit here, always getting the run. Again, he's got the run on me. Again, we invalidate as well. So he's in our slipstream again. And we saw what happened last time out. This time he's going to try and keep me to the inside of the track, so I can't extend on the exit. Tried to go really tight on the exit, but he does the cutback. Even though he has a little wiggle, still gets a good run out of the corner. But we managed to stay in front. This time we're on the inside. He's going to have to do what we did the lap before, and again it's a drag race down the straight. He's making sure we've got an extremely tight entrance into T1. How would I defend it? And I actually broke very, very early, but he moves to the left hand side, which I knew he would, and his back end steps out and hits the side of our car, and we actually saved him, because if I wasn't there he probably would have spun it. But we did get some side damage from that, and it's actually allowed their leader to get away. Now you can see just by battling for 2 laps at turn 1 and the last corner, look how much time we've lost. Remember, we were only about 8 tenths behind the leader, and now we've fully lost a good 2 seconds. So that's what happens when you battle. But you know, we're trying to hold into the P2. Carl's trying to get into P2, and look at the guy behind. Look how much time he's made up. As I said, losing time battling, and all of a sudden Raggio is in the battle now. He's only 1.2 seconds behind me, which means he's probably about a second behind Carl. So I go too deep into the last corner. This time Carl's going to get the run on the inside, and now he's got the inside. He's going to slipstream, get the side draft. I try to sort of push towards the middle of the circuit to make his turn into turn 1 tight again, but Carl's doing the same thing. We're literally side by side going down the middle of the track, door rubbing, and again this time Carl brakes very much later, and I try to brake extremely narrow, try to take a narrow exit, get a good run out the corner. Now we've got the run on Carl going up towards turn 3. Carl definitely defends the inside. We're going to try and hold it. We try to make sure, do our old trick and make sure he's narrow, but we just brake too late. Back of the car slides out a little bit, and we just can't hold it. Carl gets through. Now we're down to 3rd, and now we'll have to defend from Raggio, who's all of a sudden, from being 3.4 seconds behind only a few laps ago, now he's right in the battle. So I was going to have to concentrate, hoping that my car didn't fall off in terms of performance, because obviously when you're very aggressive on the tires in LMU, you definitely pay for it, which is one of the things I quite enjoy about the game. The more you use up the tire, the more you're going to know about it towards the end of the race. And Carl was faster, so I was going to see if Carl was just going to get off from us as we cut the last corner, and we're on 2.25, so we have to be very careful, because a couple more invalidated laps and we could be getting a drive-through penalty, which would definitely ruin our race. We would probably drop to outside of the top 10, which would completely tank our driver rating. So we're not going to try and do that. Going to try and keep it as clean as possible. And now Carl's in front. Let's see if he can pull the gap or whether we can stay with him. He seemed a lot faster through the middle, so I don't feel like I had the pace to stay with him. In sector 1 though, I felt like I was pretty good out of turn 1. As I said, still trying to find the perfect settings for the BMW. I don't feel like I've got it in terms of traction yet, because I always feel like in the last corner I struggle so much. But for me, the majority of the issues I think are definitely under braking is where I'm struggling, you know. Before I used to run the brake bias all the way rearwards on the BMW. Not quite sure if that's working for me at the moment. It's a little bit up and down, so consistency is sort of my main issue. And you can see going into the last corner again, trying not to turn the car into the corner too early, but it's like if I don't take that line, I always end up running deep. So you can see it cost me again. You can see how much Carl gains out of the last corner, and that was kind of where I was weak. But we did a 13.4. We were slightly quicker than Carl on that lap. Now, if we see if we can keep it up for the last 2-3 laps, try and put some pressure back on, see if we can get a run anywhere. Out of turn 1, I actually thought I was doing a pretty good job. I was managing to close the gap a little, and Raggio, now that we're not fighting, Raggio's began to fall back again, so didn't really have to worry about the car behind, because it seemed as if as long as we weren't fighting, we had the pace to get away. But now it seems as if now Carl's in front, now I can stay with him for whatever reason. When I was in front, he was all over us. Now he's in front, I'm able to stay with him, which is weird sometimes. And I think it's sometimes when, you know, you're close to someone and you're driving in your mirrors a little bit, you just lose time. And again, normally Carl's way faster than me through the through that section, but maybe his tires have been done in by following us for so long. But now it seems if I can stay with him through that section. Going into the last corner again, we actually get the braking pretty decent, but again, invalidated, and I keep my foot in, knowing that I wasn't going to get a 0.75, only a 0.25 we got, so it's getting extremely close on the penalties, man. But you know, we had to keep pushing. Only this lap and the next lap to go, so we're going to try and push to the end, see if we can possibly make Carl make any mistakes. We go a little deep into turn 1, so we had to be very slow on the apex, but I think Carl broke a little bit early there and I broke it a little bit late. But again, you know, only half a second behind, still trying to push, but it was very, very difficult for me to get the run, because in the 2 corners where you really need to be fast, that was where Carl had the advantage over us. So through this section here, this is where Carl always seems to get the better run. So that's why I wasn't really able to put him under any pressure. And again, out of the last corner, I felt he was getting the better exit every single time. So again, you know, these are the 2 places on the track if you want to overtake where you have to be super strong. The only other place where you have to be pretty strong is out of turn 1, and that is the one place I feel like I was pretty good. But other than that, you know, that was literally the only place where I was strong enough to mount a challenge. But Carl's got like a 7/10 gap, so it's gonna be very hard to close it down. I try to brake late as I can, actually get the car stopped. You can see we actually gained loads on our potential lap time braking that late. I think we were a little bit down, but braking super late. And look, we're up on our fastest lap time, even though we're on the last lap of the race. The grip's probably going to run out through the midsection. We were pretty good through this corner as well, but as I said, this was the section of the track where we definitely seemed to always lose time. And again, we couldn't keep it tight enough. Carl through here, sent it through the left, again through the right. I had to be careful not to track extend, of course. And yeah, pretty much that was it now. Carl with an 8/10 gap. We're not going to have to close that down because there's only 1 corner to go. We managed to pull out on Raggio, but it was such a great battle, man. We really were going at it. And it's just funny the different lines you can take in LMU, like, you know, setting up the exits and stuff like that. I really feel like it's just beneficial for racing. The way how you can, you know, okay, I'm going to take a wide line in, tight exit, and it generally works. It generally gives you the run through the next corner. So that's why I really do like the racing on LMU. I feel like it just makes sense. Sometimes when I used to play ACC, I felt like if you went deep into a corner and you wanted to take a different line, it really didn't change too much in terms of, you know, the exit and whether you could get a run on somebody. You just had to be generally just much faster. But on this game, if you just take certain lines, alternative lines, you can get the run on people, and I enjoy it a lot, man. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. Cryptic TNG, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell to catch my videos first, and peace.